Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Guilbault Girls. Today, we have a special guest with us, Dean Kelly, all the way from London. How are you tonight, Dean?
I'm superb, and I'm delighted to be talking to you two young ladies.
Well, we are so excited to have you. So I actually met Dean through one of our cerebral palsy groups on Facebook. And that's how we connected. And here we are on our show today. So you tell us a little bit about how your disability, and how it affects you.
Well, I was born in a home birth that went wrong. My mum was healthy, although small. My mum's only 4'10".
Oh, wow.
She weighs 7 stone. And I was a whopping 9-pound baby. And
wow.
Born at home, and the doctor was actually drunk when he delivered me.
Oh my gosh.
And I come out the womb and I didn't breathe for about 3 or 4 minutes. So that's left me with CP.
Yes. If you do, I know this is probably, you don't have to tell me but how old are you?
I am really old. I'm 57.
You're 57. You're not really old. So, and I'm so glad and interested too, as we get through the interview of just kind of hearing what it was like, back in your day, if you will, because so much has changed, the way people were viewed and how people were treated. Than it is today as well.
You are so right, Karen. I was on an interview about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, on radio, and the lady said, why didn't you seek one, medical assistance and legal compensation? And my reply was, that was 57 years ago. Mm-hmm. Things are so different now. So what was good today wasn't that good 50 odd years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a case of you've got your baby, he's slightly damaged, take him home and get on with it.
Yeah. I remember sitting there having conversations with my husband's grandfather, back in their day, when they had a premature baby, they would actually warm the oven and then turn it off and then actually put the baby in the oven to keep the baby warm. Like, it's crazy to hear those stories.
But that was done with the best will in the world. That was done with kindness and love. Mm-hmm. But people just did not really know what they were doing.
Right. And we didn't have the technology that we do today that we did back then too.
No, absolutely. My lawyer, because I went on to sue the health service for the bad birth, she said, Dean, if you'd have been born today or even 20 years ago, what happened to you then would probably not happen today.
Right. And how long ago was it that you actually sued and went through that whole thing?
This is a bane in my life, Karen. Here in the UK, you've got to bring a lawsuit before the age of 21.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time. I was 22 and 2 months old. So a year and 2 months outside what they call the limitation time. And that cost me probably about $5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did the case go on for?
For me, issuing a writ and getting to court and winning, I actually won. And they awarded me the money. And then the other side appealed because I'd left it too late, probably about 10 years.
Wow. That's a long fight. And I'm glad. Kudos to you, because, you know, that just even with the system, with other things, there are always those appeals because they want people just to quit, you know what I mean? And just give up.
Well, I had people ringing me up at work. I was lucky enough to be working during that time. And I was getting lawyers saying, look, Dean, you're affecting prominent doctors' careers, you're affecting high court judges, why don't you just let it go? But it's not in my nature to let things go.
It's not my nature either, so hey.
No, and I can tell that, Faith. I've seen some of your videos and I am in awe of you.
Oh, that's so sweet. So Faith wanted to ask you a question. So start right here and talk a little bit loud so that way the microphone picks you up.
Can you?
Nope, one below.
Oh, I can't read that one.
Yes, you can. First of all, her hair is like right in her eyes. Okay, right here.
What
was it like?
What was it like growing up having cerebral palsy, and what were some of your struggles?
Challenges. So what was it like growing up having cerebral palsy, and what were some of your challenges, you know, both in school and at home? And
it was pretty tough, Faith. I'm strong, but I'm not as strong as you are, young lady. So it was tough. In the early days, from birth until 9, I also had epilepsy to deal with.
I just got over mine, so.
So luckily, by the age of certainly 10, I'd got rid of the epilepsy. But as we both know, Faith, you don't outgrow cerebral palsy.
Yes, as he said, he unfortunately, you don't outgrow cerebral palsy, but you guys both outgrew epilepsy.
But it was tough as a kid because when you're little, you want to go swimming, you want to go ice skating. And my mum, being a great mum like yours is, Faith, she was worried that I'd go swimming and I'd have a fit in the water, or I'd fall over on the ice and hurt my head. So although my mum was really encouraging and supportive, she was also a proper mum that worried. So that was all the challenge.
Now, growing up, did you use a walker, canes, or a wheelchair?
I didn't, Karen, but in hindsight, I might have benefited from certainly sticks. My walking was awful. It's a bit better now. It's a bit laboured. I can't walk far without being tired. And when I get tired, I tend to trip.
Yeah.
So as a kid, well, I was at A&E in the hospital more times than enough, through falling over, bumping my head, cutting my arms. So it was just part of having CP, I think.
Did you have a lot of physical therapy and occupational therapy that you had to go to?
No, I didn't. And again, I wish I did have. It didn't really kick in for me until about the age of 15.
Okay.
And as you know, the sooner you get to the root of a problem and start working them muscles, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 15 years of non-activity in terms of treatment. But once it started with a little bit of speech therapy and a little bit of muscle relaxing, it has helped.
Good. Did you have to ever have any surgeries or muscle lengthenings?
No, I didn't. But to this day, I still get Botox injections.
Yes. And you receive them well? You get a good outcome from them?
Yeah, I get them in my neck, Karen and Faith, because I get awful pains in my neck and my shoulders. I've been asked if they work. I said, well, I think they do, but I haven't got one wrinkle on my neck. So I'm happy with that.
You got the perks of that. And how was it in growing up in school? Because I know that you touched a little bit when you had emailed me some things about that you did get bullied growing up in school.
I did, particularly in the high school, as we call it here. From the age of 11 to 16 was very tough. My own year was fine, but the year above took, well, not everyone, but some of them took great delight in bullying and calling me names. And I think for anyone who is a bit different, the people out there are willing to kind of exploit them and have a little dig.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that affected my behaviour at school. I was quite a wild child at school.
Yeah.
I was excluded, I was suspended. But Karen, I had one teacher that got me, and she stood in my corner when it wasn't very fashionable to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And she told the rest of the staff, look, this boy is going through a nightmare. Cut him some slack.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a child going through what Dean's got going on, you'd be a bit more sympathetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that. And like I got bullied like in elementary school a little bit, but me being the person I am, I'm strong. I was unable to stand up for myself, so I had to talk to the principal, and she stopped it. Especially since the person that was bullying me was bullying other girls, but it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so I don't know whether it's just so much worse now at this day and age, or just because social media, so we hear about it more. But yeah, it's not good.
And Faith, I don't want to be sexist, but I think girls can be worse than boys sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
I just
all the
wanted to
time.
say that, but so you're not being sexist. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, boys just have an argument and a fight. Girls, it can go on for months.
Yes, we bring the drama. The girls like to bring on the drama, Dean.
They do, don't they?
So do you have any siblings?
I do. I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
And kudos to mum for having more after me, because it must have been a bit of a concern.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a sister 3 years older than me and a brother a sister 3 years younger and a brother 8 years younger.
Okay. All right. Are you close with them?
Yeah, we are. We're a close-knit family, but that doesn't always mean harmony. We argue and we fight, but we love each other.
Yep. And I think that's with every sibling and family.
No matter if you have a disability or not.
Yep. No matter whether you have a disability or not. So this kind of touches basically again on like about the bullying. But so did you feel isolated or alone a lot growing up? And if so, how did you cope with that or manage those feelings?
I did and I didn't. I've got the most amazing group of friends. Not too many of them have a disability, and that's not out of choice. It's just I was the only boy in my area that had a disability, and they've been so supportive. And if we go out for a drink or go to the bar and I spill a drink, they just laugh. It's not a big deal.
Right. Yep.
Unless it's their drink, of course.
Unless it's their drink, yes. Then Dean, you better buy me another one.
I grew up with that for like 11 years.
You grew up with what for 11 years?
Like being the only one with the disability in my area, kind of.
Well, no, that's not true, because you had the crazy thing is talk about small world. We had a 10.5 acre farm, and then next to us, wow, I think they had like 8.5, and then there was like fields in between, and then there was a home there. And actually the mom was a doctor, and her daughter has cerebral palsy, and the two of them, actually, you guys went to school together for in Gilpin, and then again in Cecilton, and then she ended up going to another school. But you guys used to have races in the hallway. But after she left, I don't know, I think there might have been one other girl that had CP, but she really just walked on her toes. It wasn't very prevalent. But yeah, it was hard really finding people that have similar disabilities. I found where we lived. Yeah.
I've just gone on my own work-wise to do my own thing. But the job before that, I worked for a company based in London, and they got disabled people into work, and they found them jobs, and they invest in their businesses, basically. And a lot of those people were disabled themselves within the company.
Okay.
So it's the last 3 years I've been surrounded by disabled people, and it's been really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, because then you can kind of, have somebody that understands and have kind of went through some of the similar things that you have.
I didn't have my best friend Ellie till we moved here, and I felt isolated, but then I was like, okay, I'm fine. I have a good support system.
Yeah. So your speaking is a whole lot better than mine. Your speech is amazing.
It used to be worse with my seizure medicine. I've actually been doing quite good.
Well, I think you're amazing.
And I love your accent.
I knew she was going to say that.
Well, I've been to America only once, but my friend says Florida doesn't count as America. and the people there were so friendly, Karen. They really were. They wanted to talk to me and just sit and listen to my accent. I found it bizarre. Yep.
That's so funny. That is so funny. So what did you graduate high school with a diploma?
Yeah, I went to high school and then college after that.
And how was it getting through college?
Compared to today, it was a lot different. Today, we've got something called access to work, where they'll get you equipment and they'll allow you extra time for your exams. And if you're not a very good writer, like I wasn't, they'll provide you with a scribe. Someone said. But back in my day, there was not much of that going on.
Yeah, so Faith struggles with some of her stuff. So right now she's on the certificate track.
Which I don't get the diploma because I struggle with my stuff. Like before, when I was on the diploma track, I was not learning. I was having a fit every single day, crying, couldn't do my homework, try to make it up, and couldn't, and then talk it over. I was like, eventually I need to stop and go on the certificate track because this is just not working.
And it was just
because of me.
And it was hard because even like her reading with her, so she has cortical vision impairment, so she can see what we see, and just that her brain perceives it differently. So it also affects a lot of her processing. So trying to get the credits for math and all of that, it's just, it's a struggle. So
I had a hard time with algebra.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Karen, you being you and a force of nature and a wonderful mother, can you and the other parents not talk to the educational system and get them to make allowances?
So we actually kind of went with the certificate track just because of her struggles trying to go on the diploma track.
Right. Yeah.
So now it's trying to actually, find the different things out there that she's going to be able to do. And her speaking and her voice really is her greatest strength. Like it really, really, truly is.
I love to write songs. Not many people know that. I'm a songwriter and I want to be an author.
Wow.
So now, does it affect your hands too? Does it affect your fine motor?
My hands shake. My legs are strong, but they move. Well, they've got a mind of their own sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst part will be my arms. They shake.
They shake a lot.
It affects my right side a lot. So ever since I've been off my seizure medicine, I've been having a lot of like tremors, but I never used to. I don't know why, but.
So you've been an accountant for 20 years, correct?
Yes.
And now, and you've also taken on the medical establishment in the groundbreaking law case, which ultimately made British legal history.
Yes.
And now you are working on being a motivational speaker. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I retired from being an accountant maybe 10 years ago. I hurt my back at work and they let me go and said, Dean, we'll pay your pension right up now. So it took me about 5 minutes to think about that and say, yes, that'd be nice. And I realised that I did not want to go back into crunching numbers. I've been there and done that for 20 years. And like Faith, I've got a story and it's a decent one. And I just want to tell people about cerebral palsy. And that brought me to the point that I thought, I need to talk about this. I need to dispel all these myths that you can't give someone a hug and end up with cerebral palsy yourself.
I know my friends used to ask me that and used to be afraid of that. And I'm like, no, I'm not contagious. You can play with me. I don't bite, you can touch me.
I've been on dates as a young man. I'm happily married now. My wife's in there. She's wonderful. She looks after me. Before we met, I've been on dates at college and that. And I'd be in a bar and other men would sit down and go, wow, you don't half shake. And I thought, how rude are you? But you can't legislate for people like that.
Yeah.
There are people in the world like that, but to be fair, most people are very kind. They are.
And where did you meet your wife at? How did you meet her?
Spain, actually. She went away with the girls, and I went away with the boys. She's from Newcastle, I'm basically from London. And I walked into a bar one night, kind of stumbled. I blame it on the cerebral palsy and not the beer. And she actually caught me.
Oh, get out. Are you serious?
Yes. So to make myself look a bit more cool, I started dancing.
Oh, I think that is the best like story ever. Oh my gosh, how awesome. Did she think you were
And here
crazy?
we are and here we are 20 years later.
Wow. Did you find it hard meeting people and going out on dates with people because of your disability?
I dated most people that I went to school with because they knew me.
Right.
And they didn't see me for cerebral palsy. They seen me as maybe a naughty lad at school, but basically a decent person.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my dates were people that I'd known for a little while.
And that gives me hope for Faith too, because she always talks about, how she wants to get married and meet someone. And, so it's great. And I told her, absolutely. I'm like, look at all these other people out there that do it. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean you're not going to find your soulmate.
No, Faith, you're so young. You've got the world at your feet. You can be and do anything you want. Absolutely anything. And meeting someone's not a big deal. It'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me see. And who have been your biggest influences in your life thus far? And what's the end goal for Let's Talk About Cerebral Palsy?
I'm kind of surrounded by powerful and strong women. So my mum's like you are with Faith, Karen. She's always been in my corner. There's no word can't. You can do that, Dean. It might take a bit longer, but you'll get there. Mm-hmm. And then I met my lovely, beautiful wife, Lil, and I had a job earning really good money as an accountant, and I chose to leave it. And that is a big deal. Mm-hmm. But she backed me 100%, saying, Dean, if you're in pain, you can't be sitting in an office every day of the week. And we manage. And we did. And we do. So I find women incredibly strong, but far stronger than us men.
Well, I love that. So when I emailed you, we talked about words. Words are so powerful, especially in this day and age. And just, they can inspire us. They can do great things. And they're something as a daily reminder. So what word comes to you that is meaningful to you? And would you be willing to share what that word is?
Yeah, I had a little think about that one, Karen. And it's a 3-letter word, and it's the word can. C-A-N. Not cannot, can. Because where there's a will, there's a way. You might have to deviate to get to where you want to be, but if you're willing to put the miles in, you can do it.
Absolutely.
My teacher used to say when I used to do math problems or something, I used to say, oh, I can't do it. And she's like, no, I can't. You can. It just takes you a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree.
Because I had that great support system.
So for your, let's talk about cerebral palsy. Are you starting a YouTube page? Are you going to be going around to different schools and talking, or are you be writing any books or?
Well, it's 2 years ago before COVID, I started to go into schools and talk to pupils about my life and about disability and more overly cerebral palsy. And then that all stopped when COVID hit. But I found YouTube. Used to probably masters at YouTube, but I'm not. I've made 2 YouTube videos, and I'm ashamed to say that my grandson is better on YouTube than I am.
Trust me, it took us a while to figure everything out. And it's still a learning curve, especially even doing like the podcasts and, trying to get them on all the different platforms. But, again, this is something that I've wanted to do. We both wanted to do for quite some time. And to be honest, the one thing that was holding me back was my website. And then I'm like, you know what? Who cares about the website? It's the content that you're putting out. So I just went forth with all the YouTube stuff and podcasting stuff, and I'm kind of learning as I'm going. And I have two great mentors, which one, Sarah, you're already in touch with.
Yeah, she seems lovely.
Yes. And then Jimmy Apple, which I'm going to put you in contact with too. And we were on their shows, and they really motivated me just to start. And again, I think that the biggest thing that people say or regret is just that they didn't start sooner. And the more you do it, the more used to it and better you get at it.
Yeah.
So it's a learning curve.
Yourself and Faith, you've invited me this evening or this afternoon, your time, to talk. I hope that we can work together and do something meaningful.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of conditions out there that have got quite a big voice. Mm-hmm. Cerebral palsy hasn't.
Yes.
So we need to be louder and bolder.
Mm-hmm. Louder and bolder. I agree. Well, I want to thank you so much.
I want to talk to people in schools, but I have to wait till I graduate first. But that is something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you'd be amazing, Faith.
Yeah.
I would tune in and listen to you.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners, or any advice that you might want to give to someone listening that's kind of growing up with cerebral palsy and in some of the same situations you've been in?
Just be self, be true to yourself. And the biggest thing I would say to a young person with cerebral palsy, do not compromise. Do not take second best. You are worth as much as anyone else. If someone wants to give you a job that is beneath you, that you don't want to do, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you.
Because when I left school, someone said, do you want to work in a supermarket collecting trolleys? Karen, there's nothing the matter with that. People do that. I applaud them. But I knew that I could do a little bit more than that. So right. I said no.
Right. Good for you. Yep. And I'm hoping this kind of will pave the way for Faith too and open up doors, So, well, thank you so much for joining us all the way from London.
I wrote a song about my birth story. I'll send it to you.
Oh yes, I'll send you. She wrote a story about her birth. She wrote a rap song about her birth story. Actually, I was kind of impressed. I'm reading. I'm like, oh my gosh, get out of here. You wrote this. So, and she has someone that comes in and helps her and works with her and also scribes. So she's been typing everything up for Faith as she's writing these songs.
Well, I can see you doing big things in the future. I'm going to buy your songs. I'm going to buy your records. And you're going to be famous.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. For everyone else, stay tuned for another episode. We release the second and fourth Tuesdays via podcast platforms. And then we release the second and fourth Fridays at 6:00 on YouTube. You can find us on social media, YouTube, and all the podcasts at Guilbault Girls. And if you would like to be on the show, a guest on the show, please reach out to us through any one of those social media links. Face saying, don't be afraid. So until next time, thanks, guys. Thanks, Dean, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Guilbault Girls. Till next time.